Today is a very exciting day for me because I get to shoot with this bad boy, the Leica M11. And it's one of my dream camera brands. And truth be told, I have shot with Leicas before, but just as a test shot. And it was back in 2020 when I visited Wetzlar in Germany. And of course, in 2020, there wasn't a lot happening and I couldn't really actually use it. But this camera is not actually mine. It belongs to my friend Ari, and he's actually here with me today. And we are gonna go out here in Porto, shoot some street photography, and I'm going to try my best to shoot with a rangefinder for the very first time. Now, he's a little more experienced than me. He hasn't had this camera for a very long time, but he is a previous X100V owner, so he's very comfortable shooting rangefinder, so maybe he can give me some quick tips on the camera. I'll give you my thoughts on if this camera is worth the 9,000 euros. And I don't know, is it as hype as it is? And is it worthy of being sort of the dream camera that I always thought it would be? So let's head out and shoot today. And I am just with my buddy Ari right now. I'm gonna put a mic onto him. I'm filming everything with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and we're just gonna go out. He'll shoot some photos, I'll shoot some photos, and then I'll pop them up on screen and kind of tour you around Porto shooting street with a M11, no autofocus rangefinder camera. So this is Ari's first time in Porto. And what do you think of the city so far for street photography?
It's so beautiful. The colors, the way people dress, the lighting.
I think the narrow streets are pretty cool.
It's just quirky as well, but also beautiful.
You were a previous X100 owner.
I was.
The super hyped camera, and now you sold that for the M11. And what are your thoughts right out of the gate of whether you like the Fuji more or the Leica more?
Well, I was consider myself one of the biggest Fuji fanboys, and I still love what they're doing with their cameras, but I mean, this is just another level. Being full frame, you definitely get a lot more dynamic range with this camera.
Yeah, I guess that's the big difference, hey? Having a full frame versus the APS-C
immediate thing. I mean, look, I think the Fuji X1 is a beautiful camera, but the build quality is on a different level. It's made out of aluminium. There's another one made out of brass, which is the chrome one. But the design is just absolutely stunning. Yeah,
so what lens are we shooting with today? I guess people might want to know.
This is the 50mm Summicron f2. It's the version 5, which is the current one.
Yeah, and I think that lens, guys, if you don't know, because my audience is mainly Sony, it's a very expensive lens. And just right out of the gate, this body new is around 9,000 euros.
It's, yeah, just under 9,000.
Yeah, and I think the lens itself is how much?
It's 2,600 if you buy it new.
Yeah, so this setup right here that we're walking around with is closer to 12,000 euros, and in Canadian, it's 16,000 or something crazy like that.
God.
Yeah, so like it's not even on the same level of the pricing of my Sony cameras, and I've never shot with this before. But right now we're at the main cool viewpoint of the bridge, so maybe we'll grab some shots here. I have used manual focusing camera in the past. It was my very first camera when I was a child. It was the Canon AE1. So I understand that's a rangefinder style. And so I think I'll have to kind of get my bearings with it, because since that time, for the last 10 years, since 2014, I've been shooting strictly Sony and with amazing autofocus. So, okay, so we're gonna switch here. Ari's gonna film me and I'll try it for the first time.
You want it in black and white or in color? Well,
I'll try it. Is it black and white right now?
It's in black and white. That's just for the preview, but
yeah,
it actually makes no difference.
Okay, so you just do this.
All right.
Also, this is Ari's first time using the Osmo, which he's very interested in. So it's a first for both of us for these cameras. Okay, so focusing on this, I just got to match the patch up.
Yep.
Oh, okay, I see it. Cool. And then it lines up, and then you snap, and you hope that everything's in focus. Cool. The train's coming through. So Ari, the borders in the frame here, outside the picture is being taken on the borders, and everything outside of that is what's going to come into frame. Is that correct?
That's correct.
With rangefinder.
And that is within 50 millimeters.
Wow, guys, listen to the sound of this shutter. Like, it is so sexy.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go down there and see if we can get a couple more shots. Whoa, look at this man barbecuing. Maybe we can get a couple cool shots here. Interesting. Wow. So cool.
Did you take a shot there?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it has an electric shutter as well, so if you're
this is so cool. Should we head down? Whoa, look at this view. Oh man, the patch to get the focus on this thing is so good. You can get your focus dialed in fast. It's insane. It's insane. Let's see if I can get a good shot of Ari here. Maybe he'll let me post this. See if I can get you sharp. Nice. Let me try to get a shot of Ari against this Porto thing. Here, why don't you stand in this doorway, Ari, and I'll try to go down here. If we can get a cool shot of him. This is so strange because I always usually have my third grids on to line things up. Yeah, oh man, this focusing is insane. It's so good. And it's really nice. You can get your focus on a main point and then do focus and recompose.
Yep.
Depending, as long as the plane is the same, hey?
Exactly.
Perfect. So right now, Ari and I are heading down to the main waterfront, which is Ribeira. And I think that will be an amazing area for street photography because it's just some really strange and weird people there.
Oh yeah.
And I think it'll be a true test to see if I can get my shots sharp quickly because everyone's always moving. And if you're not familiar with Leicas and the M11, typically you want to use zone focusing. And honestly, I don't know it well enough to explain it in this video today, but if you just Google or you put in YouTube zone focusing M11, you'll get a lot of tutorials on how to do it. But it's just a way so that you can set your camera so that as soon as you point wherever you click within a certain distance, everything will always be in focus without having to think about it. That's pretty much it, right?
Yep, you nailed it.
Perfect.
I mean, I'd say for here a 35mm.
Yeah?
Probably makes a bit more sense.
Should we switch?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now we're shooting with the 50, so it can be a little bit tight, but I think we're just gonna find a spot where Ari can swap the lens and then we'll jump into 35 and try to get some cool shots.
This is Voigtlander. They're a bit cheaper, but they're still pretty good. It's f1.2, but I will probably, when funds allow, swap this one, trade up to a Leica Summicron.
So I'm trying to figure out if I want to buy a Leica and if it's worth it through today's sort of quick test, and then whether it's going to be a Q or a M. Well, I guess we'll have to find out. But right now we're approaching the main area where there's going to be a lot of singing and music. So I think this is the perfect time for Ari and I just to get into a bit of a groove and shoot some photos. So I guess the big question that we have to ask is, what have you not enjoyed about this camera so far?
There's a few quirks. It's overly fussy with memory cards. If you put the wrong memory card in,
yeah,
and it's hard to know what the wrong memory card is. It seems to have no bearing on the price and quality.
Right.
It can freeze up. So
okay.
I've been using the internal storage.
Yeah.
And, there's no issues with that.
All right, we haven't seen a tram yet.
We haven't, no.
If I can get this
and then what else do I not like? I don't like, sometimes my images end up upside down.
Oh, just for no reason?
For no reason, which is not a deal breaker, but it's still stupid when you're paying kind of money for a camera.
Right.
You know?
All right, look at this McDonald's.
Wow.
Isn't it absolutely bonkers?
This is a contender for the world's most beautiful. Wow.
Is it crazy? Look at this tram. We gotta try to get a shot of this thing. It's funny, 35 is not wide enough for that at all, so you gotta frame it differently. Yeah. Oh, weird. You can see the tip of the lens on here and the rangefinder.
Yeah, so you get rangefinder blockage with these larger lenses.
Oh, shit.
Like smaller lenses.
That's weird.
I think for the average Sony shooter, this would not be ever considered a large lens.
No, this is tiny.
For an M mount user, this is considered
pretty big.
Yeah, this is a large piece of glass.
Okay. I think we'll swap positions here in a second. I just want to get a cool shot of this tram if I can, and then I think I'll pop it over to you. Yeah, the mics are really far away, so you don't have to run across the street. I'll just run over. Oh, shit. Can I get focused on this thing? Wow. That was awesome. I bet you, I wish you would have had the camera, then you would have got better shots. Let me just grab one quick of this tram.
Don't sell yourself short.
Huh?
Don't sell yourself short.
We'll see. That was amazing. I'm stuck over here, man. The traffic is so bad. Opening. Yes. Okay. Let's swap. I tried to get some shots of it and see what Ari comes up with. He comes from a writer's background. More photojournalism, whereas I came from more brand and editorial style. But I love that this guy's just staring out the window at us. This is so neat having this, I know we're talking about the Leica today, but the freaking Osmo Pocket can go anywhere. And you can get the most amazing compositions with this thing. What, are you doing slow shutter drag?
Yeah.
No, see, that's the advantage of him knowing the camera. He can get all artsy with it and shit. See, most of the time when I shoot photography, I've always shot really deep. Like, people who watch this channel know that my favorite focal length is the 85mm for street photography because I'm a little bit more shy, so I don't like to get up in people's spaces. How do you feel about that, getting up in people's spaces when you're shooting street?
I think when it's in a crowded area full of tourists, I have absolutely no qualms because people are...
it's so crowded anyway.
I've expected it. If you're in a quiet place and you go up, you're probably gonna get punched in the face or shouted at.
Yeah, like this guy right here. You know, some people would go up to him and just snap a photo because he's smoking and it's an interesting shot, but I don't know that I would do that.
I wouldn't. I'd maybe max like take a photo of him like in the corner of the frame.
Yeah.
Without identifying him.
Yeah, totally. Which he might do right now.
Done.
So we'll see that photo on screen in a bit, I'm sure. If it's a good photo, I'll pop it up on screen right now.
Give it a 5 out of 10.
Okay, so
this is nice.
So we are now taking Ari to the back streets where it's just really tight streets because it's if you've seen my video about Porto in the past, the lighting here can be really good midday because the streets are really, really tight together. So it can hide a lot of the harsh light and gives you really interesting shadow play. But you have to find that. Look at all the clothing up there. Like, those are like super interesting shots. Like,
also, the seagulls, they're a character in themselves. So
totally.
Yeah. sometimes I just like taking pictures of like weird stuff like this exposed wiring here, for example.
That's the photojournalism in Ari. So we have just finished our street session, and I thought we would sit down and just kind of talk about the camera a little bit, because I really want to buy a Leica, but do I really want to spend 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,000? So we're gonna find out right now. Do you think that this camera is worth the price difference from a Fuji X100 series, like an X100V or 6?
Objectively, no. Depending on who you are, subjectively, yes. By that I mean, if you look at the specs and you look at it from a purely materialistic and like use case, it's gonna be, there's no way it's worth more than that. But this is a sentimental object. It's an emotional purchase.
Yeah.
And by that, absolutely 100% it's worth it. If you're gonna be using it every day, this is something I think. Yeah,
and if you've ever seen a Leica, they're super minimally designed, even more so than the Fuji cameras, which is the most comparable to this. And now that you've used this for a while, do you like the minimalist design? Because that is a big sticky point with Leica. Some people who are Leica fanboys just say that this is the best design. It's just got everything that you need. And I agree, like it just has, you know, your shutter speed, it has your ISO, and you don't really need anything else. And then you can do your aperture on the lens. But then for some people, they're like, it's just a big piece of metal that has no buttons and it can't do anything.
I mean,
so what is your thoughts?
Yeah, it really depends on your personality and the way you like to take photos. For me, I don't like the camera to get in the way too much. I want to be able to adjust my shutter speed, aperture. I kind of just leave the ISO on automatic most of the time. And then I can adjust my exposure compensation here. So for me, it's great.
So my thoughts on shooting the camera first time was that the rangefinder, not a problem. You can, if you learn zone focusing, it's even better, but there's a little, like, you know, if you've looked into a rangefinder camera before, you just kind of line up the objects. As soon as it hits, it's in focus. I thought this camera was so smooth and buttery to use. I just love the raw experience of just taking photos. And because it's so minimal, and I'm a minimalist, it takes away everything but taking photos. You just take photos. You don't worry about your settings, and you just try to take really great photos. So I don't know, anything else to say about our street photography sessions? Do you think you got some good shots?
I think so. I mean, it's hard not to when you're in such a beautiful location like Porto.
Yeah, totally.
And, even despite the fact it was midday and sun was overhead, I'm pretty excited to see what we managed to shoot.
Totally. I'm gonna, I think I have one photo that I'm absolutely excited about. The rest might be just absolute trash. I'll put them throughout the video, but then I'll put our favorites at the very end right now, our 2 favorite picks. But that's pretty much it. Do you think I should buy a Leica? That is the final question. Should I sell all my Sony gear to buy a Leica?
Absolutely. You absolutely must.
You heard it here. So that is the verdict. Oh, I actually had one bonus question.
Yeah.
You're getting into video.
Yeah.
You're just sort of dipping your toes. You're really enjoying it. What do you think of the Osmo, using it?
Man, this thing is so cool. I mean, you showed me that video you edited yesterday, and I would have thought that came from your Sony. But no, this tiny little thing, it's got a gimbal in it, super convenient. It just takes away a lot of the pain and misery of shooting.
Honestly, for the type of videos I'm filming these days, I think the Osmo Pocket and a Leica Q3 might fit my needs. I don't know, we'll see. But that's pretty much it. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share for anyone who might also be considering a Leica. I'm gonna throw all of Ari's links and Instagram and anything else he wants me to put in there so you can check out some of his work. He does really interesting and really fun work that I think some of the audience will really enjoy. It's really just raw, real life stuff that I'm just not good at. But that is pretty much it for this video. So as always, live passionately and stay inspired. Bye.